Hello YouTube and hello viewers, and welcome back to another episode of creating our 2D side scroller in Unreal Engine 4. Today's session might be a little bit lengthy, so I'm going to keep this nice and short in regards to our intro. But what we're going to look at today is we're going to allow our AI, so our bad guy, we're going to get him to shoot our character. So say for example, if we get close to the character, he's going to start shooting at us. Okay, it's going to require us to do a few things. One, we have to make another blueprint in this session, and then we're going to carry on working with our BadMan blueprint. So we're going to make another blueprint for our bad guy's bullets, and we're also then going to start working on our BadMan himself. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. As I said, I don't really want to waste too much time because this video could get quite lengthy. And remember, I do everything on the fly, so yeah, hopefully I don't make any mistakes along the way. Okay, so as you remember, what we got up to is we managed to get to a point where we could shoot the AI enemy, and which will damage that enemy himself, and then obviously he would then die. Okay, what we need to do is we need to get that character to be able to shoot us back. Okay, so you'll be able to target us, and you'll be able to shoot us. But before we start, we need to make sure that the character has some bullets that he can use. So if you remember, we had a blueprint called BP bullet. Okay, and that was for our guy to shoot that bullet. What we're going to do is we're going to just duplicate this. So we're going to right click on it and we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to call this BP underscore bad guy bullet. Okay, just something in reference that you're going to remember. Now it's going to keep everything that we had with the bullet, but there are some things we need to change, and we're going to go through them just quickly. So open up your BP bad guy bullet. Okay, and you'll notice that we've already got everything. So the projectiles, if you look at the viewport, there's the projectile. But when we look at the event graph, this section is wrong. Okay, because what's happening is if it hits the character, so the BadMan, so his own bullet could actually kill him with this bit of information here. And that's not what we want. What we want to do is we want to link it to the character's damage, so our main character. Okay, so just delete those out like I did, and we're going to drag off this. I'm going to say cast to 2D side scroller character, so the character that you've got. Okay, the other actor obviously plugs into the object. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to send the damage into our 2D side scroller character. Now, if you remember correctly, we had something called a damage system, if I remember. So if we just type in damage system, there it is. So our custom event that we created in the character, which was called the damage system. Okay, and obviously we can apply some damage. So we're going to put 0.1 for now, so we can see it ticking. Okay, and this needs to plug into the target. And that's pretty much it that we had to change, was just putting that information into the character. So when the bullets hit our character, so your main character, he'll start doing some damage with his bullets. So we're going to compile and save that, and that's the last we're going to use of that, unless if you wanted to, you could actually change the color of the bullet by just clicking on the flip book. Here where it says sprite color, we can change that. So let's just make it a different color. So let's go for a greeny type of look. Okay, so just so it looks a bit different. So we'll just change the sprite color to green. Okay, so we can see the difference in bullets. Okay, so now that's done, we can close that down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to open up our blueprint for our bad guy. Okay, now all I did is I commented this section out. I didn't do it in our video clip before. I just do it at the end of the video just for my own reference, so I know where I'm at. So what we're going to do now is something not too complex, but we're going to create a custom event to allow our character to shoot. Now we're going to call that custom event later on, so it's important that we get this right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to type in custom event. So we're going to add a custom event, and we're going to call this one whatever you like. So let's just call this BadMan shoot. Okay, so whenever we need to call that event, we know it's going to be called BadMan shoot. Now we do exactly the same thing that we did with the character to allow him to shoot. Okay, what we can do is we'll drag off here. Okay, I'm going to type in spawn actor from class. Okay, so we're going to spawn the actor from class, and the class we're going to choose is going to be the BP underscore BadMan, or sorry, it's called bad guy bullet. Okay, Now remember, we need to add some information into the spawn transform. And to do that, we need an arrow. Now we don't have that in the BadMan, so we have to add that. Okay, so we're going to add a component. We're going to search for arrow. Okay, and that will automatically add our arrow into the character. We're going to drag that arrow off, and that's pretty much that step completed. Okay, and what we need after that to set that up is we need to get our world transform. So we're going to drag off the arrow, and we're going to say get world, oops, spelled that wrong, world transform. So there it is there. And we're going to plug that into there. Okay, now this is not finished. Okay, it is not finished, so don't think it is finished. But what we're going to do is we're just going to keep this for now, and we're going to come back to this because I'm going to show you some errors that you're going to come across if you just spawn this into the world. Okay, so let's just select all that, press C, and we're going to say BadMan shooting. So we've got some reference to go back to, so we know this is the BadMan shooting. Okay, let's make it a bit bigger because it is going to get a little bit more inside this little box, in the comment box. So do make it a little bit bigger, just for your own reference sake. Okay, now here comes the fun part. Now what I have noticed with some games that people create is that they use collision boxes for everything. Okay, what I'm going to show you in this episode is how do we break down the location of the character and also the BadMan. So we're going to do a little bit of maths in this one. Okay, now if you've never done this before, this could be something completely new to you. What we're going to do is we're going to find the location of our character and our actor. So our character and our actor. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of math to subtract them. Okay. And then with the maths, we're going to work out how far he is from the character. And if he's so far, then we're going to trigger this event here. Sounds easy, right? It does get a bit tricky, but it will make sense. Now you should have something called an event tick inside your event graph. I want you to grab that and pull it down. If you don't have this, you can quite simply type in event tick and it should be there. Okay, obviously you can't have duplicates. That's not allowed in Unreal, so only keep one. Okay, if you need this for more than one thing, you could always throw a sequence in and you can tick loads of things if needs be. Okay, but again, that's entirely up to you how you'd like to do this. Okay, we will put a sequence in sooner or later, and I'll show you why in a few more episodes to come. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to first of all find out where our character is inside the world. Okay, so let's type in get player character. Okay, so we're going to get the player character. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to find out where his current location is. So if we drag off this and type in get actor location, okay, so this is going to find out where his location is. Okay, now let's do a bit of debugging so we can find out exactly where he is. So if we drag off here and type in print, we need to turn the context sensitive off, but if we print the string, okay, and put it as an event tick, okay, so let's compile and save and play. You should notice that we can see in the left-hand bar that his location is always changing. Notice the X is continuously changing on our map. Okay, always. Anytime you move, that's going to change. If we jump, the Z axis changes, but the Y axis has nothing to do with our game. Okay, at all. I mean, that's only if you put 2.5D, then the Y axis will have some type of effect. But in our 2D, we were only working with two axes, which is X and Z. Okay, but what we want to find out is we want to find out how far this BadMan is here. Okay, so the BadMan, how far he is from my character. Okay, so how far he is. Okay, so you can see that I'm sort of getting a value there. Okay, obviously if I die, the value then changes again. Okay, but I need to be able to grab our location of our character. Okay, so let's delete these out because I don't need them. I'll call them again in a second when we need to debug. Okay, but what we need to find out is where is our BadMan, so the character. Okay, to do this, we right click and say get world location. Okay, Now we're going to get the world location, and the target is going to be himself. All right, so let's print string off this. So let's do another print string and see what we get. So I shouldn't really delete that. I'm so sorry, viewers. It's just habit. Remember, I do this on the fly. So let's print off our string, connect our event tick just for debugging, and let's see what happens. So we get an error. This is because it doesn't know what you're wanting to get the location of. And what we want the location of is the sprite. Okay, so you're going to drag your sprite in and just pop that in. Okay, so you're going to find out where your sprite is inside the world, and it should then print exactly where he is. Okay, so let's have a look. So we can see it's printing the current location of where that bad guy is inside the world. Now it's just going to keep streaming because it's an event tick. But if I had to move him, for example, so let's move the BadMan. So remember, that was around about 7, I think it was. So let's move the BadMan. Okay, let's play. You can see the value has changed. Okay, so the value has changed of where that character is inside the world. All right, so that's good. So now we currently got our maths working. So we know where our player character is, and now we know where our sprite is. Now we have to do a little bit of math. But before we do that, now I don't know if anyone's ever seen this before. Obviously, more experienced people watching this video, you would. But what you can do is on this value, we can break this. Okay, you can break it into X, Y, and Z by right-clicking on it and say split the structure. And notice it gives me my X, Y, and Z. I'm going to split this one. Okay, and you probably already know why I'm doing this by now, is because all I really want is the X value of where the character is. I don't really want Y and Z. That's nothing to me. I don't really care what that is. Okay, doesn't really bother me at all. But I do want these values here. Okay, so what we could do is we could print this string off. I'm so sorry for doing this over and over again. Oh, no, we don't want that. Want it like that. Okay, let's just copy this, paste that there, stick that into there. Okay, and then on the event tick, we'll just place these in to see it working. So let's compile and play. So now all we have to see is the value of where my character is. So you can see that at the bottom, that's continuously changing. Okay, and where my actual BadMan is inside the world. So he stays static. Okay, so now we need to do our math. So we can remove these print strings. Now I'm going to actually keep them because I keep deleting them for no reason. So we'll just delete that and delete them. And we'll just have that standing there. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of maths. And what we need to do is we're going to say, okay, so where the sprite is, we're going to subtract where the location of the actor is. Okay, now to do this, you're going to drag off this value. You're going to say minus. So this is going to be float minus float. And we're going to subtract this value here. So all we're doing is getting the character. We're getting the location of where the BadMan is. Then we're going to subtract the location of the character, and that should return us a value of importance. So let's just print that and see that. Okay, so you can see now, oh, silly Wayne, you forgot to attach the event tick. Okay, so let's do that again. So now you can see I've got one single value that's telling me the distance where I am from myself towards the BadMan character. So if I start moving away, notice it starts going into a negative value. Okay, let's see what happens if I had to rotate my bad guy. So let's see what happens if I flip him. So we're going to rotate him on, let's just go into perspective view. So perspective, and let's just give him a bit of a rotation. Okay, so we're going to rotate him 180 degrees on the Z axis. I should have just done it that way. Okay, so let's see what happens. So notice I've got a positive value again. All right, but if I go behind him, it's negative. So no matter which way he's facing, I'm going to be positive on the left-hand side and then negative on the right. That's always good to work with because you're not really going to run past the character and then carry on counting. You want to keep in the positives. It's just easier for you mathematically, to be honest. Okay, it makes things a little bit more easier. Okay. Remember, if I'm going too fast, chaps, pause the video, rewind, and go back. I'm trying to save on time because there's a lot of work that we need to put into this one. Okay, so going back to the BadMan, we've now worked out how far he is away from the character, which is good. That's what we wanted. Okay, so let's just keep these two separate so we can always come back to that. Now, what we need to find out is we're going to say, well, okay, if the character is so far away, we then need to then shoot the character. Okay, so we're going to shoot our main guy. Now, to do that, we just use is it less than and equal to. Okay, so less than and equal to. So it's my float less than and equal to. And you can choose how far you want that character to be. Okay, so if he is less than and equal to, say, for example, 100 in distance, okay, we then want to say, all right, this is a Boolean, so I know I need to have a branch. So B and click, okay, and we're going to put that in, right? And we're going to snap our event tick into our branch, okay? Let's pull this a bit closer. So what we got is we got the character. We then got our BadMan. We know if we are closer than 100 in distance, okay, we then want to do something. So whether it be true or false, okay. So let's say on here, let's print a string. So print, okay, so we're going to put 1 here for now, so just a test. So 1, so if it's true, it's going to print 1. If it's false, okay, so print string, it's going to print number 2. Okay, so let's see what happens. So compile and play. So you can see I'm getting tons of 2s on the screen. Tons and tons of 2s. Let's actually move the character. Actually, let's just move these out the way. So let's move that up there, just so it doesn't get in the way and we don't die. Okay, so it's playing. So loads and loads of 2s. Okay, if I start getting closer, notice it's now changed to 1. So technically, the BadMan, once I get in that range, he's going to start shooting at me. Okay, if I had to extend that range, so let's say, I don't know, 300. Okay, this all depends on the size of your game. Look how many 1s I'm getting. If I step away, there we go. There's your 2s. Okay, so if you want the guy to start shooting you before you see, you just change that value. Okay, that's as simple as it gets. You just change the range of how far you want that guy to see you. Okay, now, all we do now is we know, okay, well, 1's in range. All we do now is we drag off and we're going to say, it was a BadMan shooting, I think we called the event. There we go. So BadMan shoot. Okay. So once he's in range, we then going to start shooting. Okay. Now, remember I said to you, this is going to cause a problem because we haven't finished this, but I'm going to show you what happens if we don't finish this section, which is really, really important. Okay. So let me change the value because we want to test it. So let's change that to 200. Okay. And let's see what happens. Look what's going on, right? The BadMan is just continuously shooting at me, right? He's going to keep going. He's going to keep shooting because what's happening is it's just playing over and over and over again because I'm event ticking, remember? It's just an event tick that's happening, okay? We can control this, okay? We can control it. And the way to control it is up here. Okay, so we can actually add some control to this. So it doesn't just crazily go over the top and just to start destroying our character. Okay, now to do this, very, very easy. Okay, off this execution node on our BadMan shooting, we want to drag off and we're going to say do once. Okay, so do once. So that's basically going to just do it once. So let's see what happens. Compile and play. You can see the character is now shooting only once and doesn't shoot anymore because that's what a do once does. It'll only do that one trigger once. Okay, but we want to be able to shoot the character over and over again, which means we have to create a loop. Okay, so it'll keep shooting over and over again. Now we can't simply just drag this into here because we're then going to have the same problem that we had before, where the character's just going to go crazy and just going to keep shooting at us all the time when we get into range. And we don't really want that to happen because it looks kind of silly. Okay, but what we could do is my speciality that I've been doing for all these videos is we can, off our actor spawning, we could throw a delay. Okay, so it doesn't go all crazy because we could throw a delay in there. And we could put a delay of, for example, 1 second, right? Every 1 second, we then going to go back to our do once. Make sense? So we're getting the character, the BadMan, to shoot. He does it once, then he'll wait a second, and then he'll do it again and again. And this is just a loop every 1 second that the bad guy is going to shoot at the character. So let's test that. So let's play. So now we can see, even if I'm in that location, the character or the BadMan's just going to keep shooting at me every single shot. Okay? It does take my HP down, as you can see, but the bullet is not getting destroyed. Okay? It is not disappearing. So we need to set that up and make sure that works correctly. Okay? Now, to do this, we've got our BadMan shooting. We're spawning the bullet into the world. Okay? Now, to get rid of the bullet, we could get the, or cast to whatever location we want to cast to. Alright? Or we could destroy the bullet. Okay, so we could destroy the bullet. Now, I'll leave that for another episode, how we destroy that bullet. There's many ways we could do it. We could do it in here. We could do it in here. We could do it in the where's the BadMan bullet? Bad guy bullet. We could do it in here. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we've got the 2D side scroller. What we could do is we would put it just before. So we could destroy it just here, not here because that will destroy our actual actor. Okay, so we don't really want to do that. Actually, let's see what happens. Let's destroy actor. Let's see if that works perfectly fine. I haven't tested this, so let's just test. So, oh, that works fine. Okay, so that is working perfectly fine. All right, I thought it would have had a bit of an issue with our damage system in our characters, so that's okay. That's working fine. So to get rid of the bully, we just destroy the actor inside our bully, and that's pretty much it. So overall, very busy tutorial. A lot of stuff in it. I wanted to keep it into one tutorial so we didn't break it into so many. Okay, it has been a long tutorial already. Apologies for that. But just remember, when you get, say for example, if I have gone too fast in the tutorial, just go back on yourself, pause the video, catch up a little bit, then carry on going. Once you understand how it works, it's easy picking. It all makes sense to work out how to make it all work functionally wise. So what you need to do first was obviously create that bully. So we need to make this bullet, so the bad guy bully. Made sure that it was going to do damage to the character first, not to the BadMan. So we had to change that system. So it went to our actual damage system of our character. And then all we did is in our bad guy blueprint is we did a little bit of work. So we created a custom event to do our shooting. So this little custom event here. Okay, to do the shooting. And remember, you had to have that bullet first, otherwise this wouldn't work. And then all we did is a little bit of maths to find out where our character was and where our BadMan was. Did a little bit of maths, so we subtracted the values, then did a little bit of a greater than equal to, sorry, less than equal to, and then we just branched off here, okay, to print off information. If you don't want to keep printing all that info, we can just take that out and then stick that in, okay? And obviously compile and play, and then that won't show all that stuff that we had going on the screen. So all the prints. The prints are there for debugging, and that's what it's there for. So you can see that the characters every 1 second is going to keep shooting at me if I'm in that vicinity of X of, less than of so many. If I had to go behind the character, I don't want to die. So if I go behind the character, you'll notice that you'll keep shooting in that direction. In our next video, we'll rotate them around if we do go into a negative state. Okay, we'll rotate the character around and stuff like that and fix that in our next episode. Okay, so that pretty much is it. I haven't seen any of these tutorials anywhere, so please do, if you've got any friends that are struggling with this, share with your mates, share this in forums, do whatever you please, that's fine. I don't mind. Again, thank you very much for going on this long journey with me on creating a 2D side scroller. My name's Wayne. It was nice taking for this session, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.